So the other day, I was looking at pictures of Dracula's wives from the Van Helsing movie, as you do. What can I say? They are ethereal. Hi, it's me from the future who has now realized that she forgot the intro again. So, name's Tommy, welcome to That System Era. And from the edits that have since popped up on my Pinterest feed, I think it's pretty clear that the red-headed one is everyone's favorite. And I get it, cause same, but one detail really caught my eye. Her earrings. Because you're seeing what I'm seeing, right? I've had these for forever and I still really like them. I just really don't vibe with the shape of them anymore. Those beads or pearls, whatever you want to call them, basically the same look. So I'm thinking maybe I can rework these to make them look a bit more like these. Because this vibe and shape, that's a bit of me. This apparently is not anymore. Let's get right to it. Right, so I don't have an exact plan in terms of what shape I want them to be yet. However, I really like the detail at the bottom, so I definitely want to keep that. Everything else, probably gonna take liberties with. I'm not sure about the part that actually attaches to your ear, because I don't think I like that part in the original at all. These original parts, apart from just the beads, I might be able to keep or work into the new one. So I'm first gonna take these apart, see what I'm working with. And then play around with it, do some sketching, see where we end up. I definitely want that like longer, dangly, multiple elements attached onto each other sort of look. Hers have, I think, like the part that attaches onto the ear and then like 1, 2 times the same shape. That almost looks like an upside down butterfly now that I'm looking at it. And then the 3 beads at the bottom. I might be able to work one more of the smaller beads into like the middle part. Also, I hope you can see that, but like these beads are attached to 3 chain links basically. Maybe use them to attach the elements to each other. We're gonna see. First things first, pliers to separate those. I assure you, I have some that are more delicate than this one, but these are the only ones currently in this room. A characteristic that I very much appreciate about, you know, materials that I'm currently working with. I'm gonna see how far I can get with those. You know what, I'm being lazy and I'm only making this more difficult for myself. I'll go get the other ones so I have multiple to work with and I don't scratch any important parts. Alright, that's what we got for each of them. The hooks, obviously, 3 chain links, 2 small beads, 2 middle-sized beads, and 1 big one. Which I think I'm actually not going to use because I think they're too big for what I'm trying to do. And yes, your eyes do not deceive you, those are all slightly different colors. Except I think these 2... maybe this one, I'm not sure. Which I think created some interesting dimension in the original ones, but I also think if I arrange them smartly, you're not really gonna notice in the ones that I'm making now. So yeah, now it's time to play around with arrangements, see how many of these things I can make use of. I might make a necklace out of these eventually. Sorry, I just had one of those instances where the post person rings your doorbell and then doesn't wait for you to open it. And then once you do, which, you know, might take 3+ seconds, sorry, I'm not waiting right behind it any given time of the day, and then they've just run off already with your package. Ruins your whole day, that. Anyways, I think I figured out a direction. Also eating a couple of my words from yesterday. because I'm gonna use the biggest beads now. And also I figured out that I cannot arrange the beads in such a way that you won't notice that they're different colors. That just calls for creative workarounds, and that is 2 of my middle names, definitely. I actually really try to use the pink one as like a closer replica of the original. It just wasn't working. I don't wear or have anything in that light baby pink color. I don't have any jewelry that matches that, so probably doesn't make any sense to use it. And the beauty about making things yourself is that you can completely customize them to your needs. So pink ones are out, and then what I'm left with, conveniently, is the biggest one, a middle-sized one, and a small one that are all roughly the same color. Then that means I don't have enough beads for the general design I'm going for, so I had a look through some of my old and broken jewelry through my bead collection, and I actually did find clear, a little bit matte, almost plastic beads, which are also, you know, color neutral, so I think they would work with anything, but I also think looking at them next to the other ones, they're gonna integrate nicely. I've had these since before I can really remember where things came from. As in, I probably have had these since I was like under 10 years old, and now you decide to be useful. Okay, my personal mantra is never throw anything away. Speaking of beads, I've been sketching and, you know, trying things out on paper. Originally, I thought make the original shapes of the earrings, the upside down butterflies, so to say, just out of some sort of material. I was thinking about melting plastic, perhaps. I'm not sure I'm really seeing a way of making that work in the way that I wanted to for this specific project. And I think there's a high risk of all of that just coming out way too chunky. So instead, once again, Pinterest feed coming in clutch recently because it's been increasingly filled with people hand making jewelry out of tiny silver or gold beads. It's insane what you can do with that. I might just be able to do the whole thing with like little tiny silver beads around the other ones and like making shapes. I already got this like fishing line stuff. That's the route I'm taking. So I ordered some. These are obviously gonna take some time to get here. However, I also, while looking through my jewelry and stuff, remembered that I recently took apart at least parts of this bracelet for the handbag makeover, darker shade of silver, but I do just have these on hand, you know, so I'm trying to figure out whether or not they're right for this project, because they could be the contrast we need, or just too dark and therefore offsetting the vibes. And I'm just gonna, you know, get started, see if I like it. By the time I'm done with that, hopefully the other beads will have come in, and then I can decide if I switch to the other one, but I already will have like a plan mapped out, how many beads, in what shape, what arrangement I'm gonna need. Before I get started threading those, all of these original beads have like a metal pin going through them. Smaller ones are gonna be on the thread with the little tiny silver ones, so I'm gonna take out those pins, put the newly introduced clear ones on those. You know what I realize? I probably haven't seen this movie in over 10 years, which is a scary thought. Then I realized that over 10 years ago would now be 2014, an even scarier thought. And in 2014, this movie was already 10 years old. Now would be a good time to turn into a vampire so I don't have to think about the passing of time ever again, but you know, no pressure whenever the dark forces are ready to finally come for me. So we're gonna party like it's 2004 today and watch this movie while I get these earrings done. Well, you know, one thing that was a lot easier over 10 years ago was watching movies on your laptop, because you did not need an external drive for your discs. They were built in. How practical. Why did we change that? In better news, the beads have come in, and I don't really think you can tell on camera, but they're a little bit lighter than the ones I've been using so far. They're also a bit more shiny and a bit more uniform in, you know, shape and size. And I think they're overall slightly smaller, so a better size for what I'm trying to do. They still got more of like that darker, old-timey silver look to them, which I've decided I like for this project because I think that's really gonna make like the main lighter beads pop. I also got some of these, what's the right word for that? But you know, those rings that are open at one point so you can join different things together and then close them with your pliers. Actually, I might use one at the top because I've decided to go with like the classic hook earring attachment and just leave out the part at the top altogether. I didn't like it anyways, and I got hooks, you know. Spent all of Friday figuring out the shape that I want to go for and making like a million different test versions. So I got all of those currently littering my desk. Made some schematic drawings for parts that I'm mostly sure about. Now all that's left to do is take the test ones apart and then do the actual ones with the new beads. Also got a version which is slightly bigger than the ones I'm mainly going to use, which I think is going to bring in some nice variation. Just some minor things here and there that I still need to figure out as I go, probably, just in terms of where and how I'm gonna attach the different pieces to each other. I'm excited. I've got all the parts. Now I just need to put them together and try to decipher all the drawings I made in terms of where and in what direction the fishing line is supposed to go through the individual beads. Let's fucking do this. Right, it's been about a day and a half maybe, and I got all the main beaded shapes done. It's basically gonna be these two times, you know, and I'm gonna attach them like this. This one's a bit smaller, that one goes at the top, and I've made two of each obviously because 2 earrings. Now all I have left to figure out is attaching like the 3 beads to the bigger bottom thing, if I want to maybe lengthen them more. But yeah, so far it's going quite good. I'm not sure I saw that much of the movie, to be honest, because throughout all of that, trying to get the beads into the right place, I mostly just felt like Mark Watson doing that one task.
Fiddly. How? Fiddly, fiddly.
But from what I've seen, still good fucking movie. Holds up. I may be biased. To me, 2000s movies are just the epitome of cinema. Perfect balance of like what was possible still looking like a movie. Not everything had to be a fucking blockbuster. I'm gonna put in my favorite scene right now. That poor cow didn't deserve that. It's just really amusing to me that someone thought, you know what, we're making a vampire movie here. It's all like quite gloomy and stuff. How about we put this in? This is really gonna set the tone, you know? Because that's the first time we see like the brides in action, wreaking havoc, scaring that whole town shitless. And then they just do that. Fun times. Here they are, in all of the glory. I am thrilled. I think it's one of those cases where I am very much seeing the outcome of the individual parts while I'm, you know, on it. Even I can't quite imagine the end result when everything's being put together. I am insanely happy with these. I love the shape, the size, length came out absolutely perfect. In hindsight, I am very, very glad they're not pink. I'm definitely gonna think of something to do with the leftover ones, don't you worry. Since doing research for this, my Pinterest feed has basically been DIY beaded jewelry and DIY beaded jewelry only. And this stuff is absolutely amazing because, as you can see, you can make just any shape you want. So I've got more than a human lifetime's worth of ideas now probably, but hey, it's a start. And aside from things being fiddly, this was a lot of fun. Keep their shape and all. I'm a sucker for an earring that like moves well. My absolute worst pet peeve with that kind of stuff is like a dynamic shaped earring that doesn't move at all. If that makes any sense to anybody, gives me the ick. I think even the clear beads were like a good call. I was a bit worried about those, like when I have my hair down, maybe not showing at all. Usually do catch some sort of light. Even had just enough of these very small, clear, slightly iridescent beads hanging around to add 2 of those into these bigger shapes on each of them. Got to, you know, reincorporate at least one of the bigger chain links from the original. Couple more shots of them in the sunlight. Obviously that footage wasn't taken by me because vampire. I try to avoid the sun for obvious reasons. I also think for me, the hook attachment better choice. So everything really came together nicely. In terms of media statistics for this project, they're kind of laughable. The Van Helsing movie from 2004 just didn't consume any media during the rest of it. I guess I was just feeling that good old timeless silence, so that's probably really gonna skew your view of how long this might have taken. The exact opposite effect I want these statistics to have. So I guess let that be a lesson to you in terms of how literal to take statistics. If you liked watching me make jewelry, good news for you. Pretty much unstoppable now, and there's definitely gonna be more of this at some point. See you then. Rock on or whatever. Bye.